Hello lovely stitchy friends, I'm Kat and I'm delighted to welcome you to my channel Catkin and Lily, where we talk all things cross stitch. And today specifically cross stitch planning, because it is the 30th of December. So we're right at that tail end, last couple of days of 2024. And of course, if your thoughts haven't already turned to stitching for 2025, then they might well be doing that now. Especially it's this period between Christmas and New Year, the Crimbo Limbo, as some of us like to call it. So yeah, planning for 2025. I find this so exciting. So I'm actually going to make a series of 3 little videos. I say little. That's the aim, is rather than have one huge video, I'm going to do 3 videos for you. So the first one today is WIPGO. Then I'm going to have one on my top 5 that I want to stitch in 2025. Yes, just 5. And then my final one will be a general planning about how I kind of plan my daily, my monthly stitching, how I kind of keep everything all organised. So I hope you're excited for that. If you've just found my channel through this video, then welcome. It's fantastic to have you here. I hope you'll enjoy seeing all my plans and getting excited with me for what's to come in the next year. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back to spend some more time with me and see what I've got lined up for 2025. So let's jump into WIPGO. And what is WIPGO? If you've never come across it, I know quite a few of you will have done, but some of you are probably wondering what on earth I'm talking about. Well, it was all started by Jessie Marie Does Stuff. I don't know when. I only did it for the first time last year. And it's essentially bingo for your WIPs, or as you'll see, for any goals really that you want to have and to complete throughout the year. Now, I will link the video from Jessie Marie all about WIPGO as well. I'll link that in the description because she probably covers it better than me, possibly in more detail, certainly may cover various other aspects of it that I might not dive into today. So check that out if you want to as well. I'll pop a picture up of a WIPGO board, and this is actually a planner sheet that I've created with a blank WIPGO board on it. You can scribble your own on a piece of paper in your favourite stitchy planning notebook. There's lots of other planner sheets out there available. This is just the one that I've created because it kind of looks how I want it to look. And if you're interested in that, then that sheet will be available for any of my paid Patreon members, any of my paid stitchy friends over there. This sheet I will be making available for you to download if you'd like to use it. So of course you can come and join us on Patreon if you wanted to grab that. As you can see, it is a 5x5 bingo board, numbered squares from 1 to 25, and on each of those squares you would write a WIP or a goal that you would like to work on. Each month, Jessie Marie will draw 2 numbers, so you'll have 2 goals for the month drawn at random from your board. Now of course there's 25 squares, so you'll get 24 of those goals, 2 a month. That adds up. The one in the middle is often left as a free space. So that middle one, number 13, when that one is called, 2 other numbers will be called in that month as well. So most months 2 numbers. When 13's called, it will be 3, including 13, and I leave 13 as a free space. It's just a free win, basically. Now, the reason I've been saying goals or WIPs is that I think the original idea, I don't know if this is exactly how it was intended to start with. It's certainly morphed a lot from then into really whatever you want it to be. But the original idea, and hence the name WIPGO, is to put WIPs on there that you'd like to work on, perhaps because you want to try and finish them, something like that. So you could put just the name of WIPs on there. You could pick 25 different WIPs if you have a lot that you want to work on. You could pick 6 WIPs and put them each on there 4 times. However you want to do it, really. But you can put lots of other stuff on there as well. You do not have to just put WIPs. And I'm not, partly because I don't actually have all that many. So yeah, it just wouldn't work super well for me. So you could put categories or other goals of things that you want to finish. You just have to know that they can come out at any time. So don't put things on there that you know you want to do fairly soon and might not get called till the back end of the year. So I think that's probably the one thing I would say to be mindful of. And then once you've set those goals for each of the squares, you can also within that set a specific goal or target for that. So if you're using WIPs, for example, then you might say that it's this particular WIP and you want to work on it for 5 days or do a certain number of stitches, that kind of thing. But it might just be a goal. You'll see later some of mine wouldn't really have any other sort of specific target within that, but I'll show you my board later, of course. Now, while we're talking about my board, I have to say I very nearly didn't do WIPGO for 2025 because I did enjoy doing it in 2024 and I ticked off all my goals apart from one I didn't achieve. I probably could have said I'd achieved it, but I did have some specific WIPs on there. And one of them was a project I decided to UFO. So I didn't really complete the goal to stitch on it for 5 days because I stitched on it for a couple of days and then I UFO'd it. I also had, in that year, I had somewhere I had WIPs on there twice and I'd finished it the first time round. And the first time it was called. So I then had to switch out for some of the squares for other WIPs, which is fine. Again, just something to think about. And I also felt a little bit like just occasionally, not most of the time, but just sometimes, I felt like I was stitching something because WIPGO was telling me to do it, and it was maybe stopping me stitch something else that I would rather have been stitching on. I mean, I love stitching on all the things, so it really wasn't a huge problem, but it was just that little niggle that was it hindering me slightly from getting done what I really wanted to get done. So I very nearly didn't do it, but I love ticking off boxes. I love tick boxes. I like having goals that I can achieve. So I decided I'm going to do it, but I'm going to make it really easy on myself with just a couple of key things that I can do to make it super simple. And I can get that satisfaction of doing it without it becoming a chore, because we definitely don't want that. You do not want any of your stitching to be a chore. So I'll put up a picture of what my actual board is looking like for 2025. And the first thing you'll see, which I've already alluded to, is I have not chosen any specific WIPs. I've chosen some categories. So I've used the notes section at the bottom of the planner sheet to jot down ideas for themes that I could do, but I've also got things in there like FFO, so fully finished objects. I've got some new starts in there, and if a new start's called, that will be also for me, I'm going to choose it to be a new designer for me, so someone I haven't stitched anything from beforehand. But I've got lots of lovely categories in there, sort of nature, seasonal, cute, animal. I have got a Christmas or Halloween in there. So I jotted all those categories down, and then I allocated either 1 or 2 slots to each of those to make up a total of 24 and my 1 free space. So then I filled those all into my box, into the grid, and just at random, completely at random. Now, the second way I'm making this much, much easier for myself is that for the ones that could then have a target, so ones where it says specific project, so perhaps it says animal, I'm going to choose an animal WIP to work on. I'm not setting any specific goal in that WIPGO board right now, but I might well set a goal when it gets called. So that means I can choose the goal for that piece, depending on what the piece is that's called and that I choose to stitch on, and whatever else I've got going on for that month. So if it's an animal piece and I decide to stitch on a particular, say the WIP that I've got that's got an otter on it, I'll take that WIP and say, right, that's the one that's going to be the goal, and I want to work in it for 3 days because that will fit in with what else I've got going on that month. Or there might be a particular section that I want to finish on a piece, or I might set a number of stitches for that piece as well. It will just depend on what that piece is and what else I've got going on. So then coming back to the sheet, what I'll do on the sheet that I've made is that I've got the numbered box on there. The middle box at the top would be where I would then put the month that's been called. The line at the bottom of the box is if I do decide on a specific goal for that piece when it's called, I can jot that in there. And this is my most fun bit, the little box that's top right of each of the squares. That is where I could tick off when I've completed it, or I decided to go one better than ticking off, and I've got some gorgeous little heart stickers. Now this company, they don't make stickers anymore, but you can get little heart stickers from loads of places. So I'm going to use those little heart stickers and put a little heart in each box when I've completed that WIPGO goal. And I love ticking things off, but I love even more if I can put a sticker on it. So I'm super excited for that. And that's it. That is my WIPGO all set for 2025. I'm really happy I found a way to make it work for me. Let me know in the comments if you're going to be joining in with WIPGO, or maybe you weren't, and maybe you've just got some inspiration for how you could make it work for you. I would love to hear your plans. Of course, if you would like the planner sheet that I've been sharing in this video, then come on over and join us in the Patreon community. Any of the paid tiers, in fact all the tiers on my Patreon, all get the same perks. So as little as £2 a month and you can get that planner sheet and so much. There's so much good stitchy stuff going on over there. And come back for part 2 of the planning videos, which will be tomorrow, and that will be my top 5 things that I want to stitch in 2025. So yes, lots more excitement to look forward to there. Until then, happy stitching and bye for now.